Welcome to Georgian Crossroads. This is Byrne Power, and today we are in Vardzia. And Vardzia is a national treasure here in the country of Georgia. And it is someplace you really should visit if you come here. This is the second in my series on my trip to Vardzia. And we spent a while yesterday going through various climatic conditions to get here. Started off with rain, ended up with snow, and then a beautiful sunny day. Welcome to Georgia. If you want to find out more about the earlier trip, watch the video before this one. But today what we're going to do is explore the caves behind me. So we're going to begin our adventure today by driving back up the valley underneath the Tbilisi fortress, which is sitting way up on top of a peak overlooking this gorge that leads to Vardzia. And as you travel there, you start to notice some interesting things. One is that there are tiny fortifications. You can just barely make them out as we look right now. Those brown places, and there's a hole there in the wall. Those are fortifications designed along with the fort on top to fight off anyone who might come up this gorge to attack Vardzia. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have really worked. But it gives you an idea of how impregnable Vardzia was supposed to be. And as you look around, I'm looking backwards down the Mitgavari River and start to look up, and you see we're completely surrounded by these jagged outcroppings of rock and peaks here. Pretty fascinating stuff. This is also where I kept running into cows. So eventually I come back to the overlook, and here's the Mitgavari River. There's the bridge. You have to actually cross, the road crosses the bridge to the other side. And Vardzia is on your right. There's the visitor center for Vardzia. And there was almost no one there. And there was no buses parked in that parking lot. There was a cafe that was kind of open. I didn't bother to get anything. No gift stores. I was able to get a ticket and to get a guide to come with me. And my guide's name was Tico, and she proved to be quite knowledgeable. I'll let her explain a few things for us.
It is important that here in Vardzia we had 15 churches and the chapels.
Yes.
Around Vardzia, a lot. Yeah. So now this part, what we see now, I can say that this is just nothing. It's a shadow of Vardzia, what we see now.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we have only inner part of Vardzia.
Yes.
The most part which was in front was collapsed. And the caves, which we will see later, are mostly typical. I mean, we have storages and mostly wine cellar.
Of course.
We have also refectory here, chapels, churches, pharmacies as well. Approximately 700 monks began to live here. And Vardzia became very important religious center for our country. But Vardzia was not only monastery. It was kind of educational center for our country. There was a schools for our local people to get education.
So at this point, Tico walked me through this castle, kind of a portico, and as I went through it, well, actually this was a monastery, so this was essentially a church. But as I went through it, I've been looking around and seeing all sorts of interesting holes in the wall, but it isn't until you walk through this passageway that Vardzia really opens up for you. And we'll let Tico talk some more. So how has this season been? There's only very few people?
Now?
Yeah, for tourism.
Yes, very few. Last year we had a lot of visitors.
Yes.
But now, in this year's...
Yes, I am staying at a guest house. I'm the first person they had all year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In which guest house you are?
Tsunda.
Okay. My uncle's guest house.
Okay.
Yes. After earthquake, very soon, just after 2 years, monastic life rised again. And two important parts. This building,
Yes.
bell tower, and also balcony of the church was rebuilt. But after 3 centuries, in 16th century, Vardzia was occupied and completely destroyed by the Persians, Iranian people.
Yes.
Okay, so what's about this room? This is refectory, dining room for the monks. For 30 or 40 monks to have a dinner here. With fireplace.
Ah.
Yeah. Fireplace was, before the fireplace was covered by clay from inside, so they could do break bread, to cook. So it was as a bakery as well. So what's about these stones in front? It was a table and behind them benches. But monks always had a dinner here, face to face, never behind to each other. So it was all for the Georgian tradition, and this means that they were respectful for each other. What's about the small halls, small rooms? Inside, these rooms used as a refrigerator now. We have 28 wine cellar here now, and more than 200 wine jars. By the way, the volume of the biggest wine jar here is 1,800 liters, so almost 2 tons. And according to the number and size of these wine jars, scientists calculated how many liters wine was present produced by the monks during the period, and they found out that 90 tons, and sometimes more, 100 tons wine was pressed by them, which was consumed by the monks who lived here. So, I was talking about the Persians, yeah? It is quite interesting how Persians managed to get here. Because, as I mentioned, Vardzia was refuge. So this means that it was well-preserved, well-saved city, and only ways to get inside were the tunnels.
Yes.
Secret ways. And nobody knows about the secret ways, only the monks who lived here, and also one important person.
Right.
He was governing this region during this time. But unfortunately, he betrayed. He told about the secret tunnels to Persians, and maybe they paid for this information.
Yes.
And after that, they managed to get here. And to be honest, the information which we have now, we know from the book which belongs to the Persian historian.
Yes.
Hassan Begrumlu. According to the description of the Persian historian, the Persians burned the candles in the church. 4 candles. And the weight of each one was 320 kilos.
Oh, well, that's
one
big.
candle. Yes.
Yes.
So, because mostly the monks here use the candles and torches for light. So, maybe they really had supply of this service. And also 20 monks who lived here, we are burnt by them in the church. Punished. Yes.
They were killed by them.
Killed, yes.
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 By being burnt alive.
Yes. So, and exactly because of the fire, the wall painting in the church was covered by smoke. Everything was black inside in the church, and they thought that they destroyed everything. I mean, wall painting. So, but after exactly 3 centuries, in 19th century, when Vardzia was empty, one Greek monk began to live here. He cleaned some caves here, he began to live here, and he also cleaned the church, and he found out that these frescoes was well preserved under the smoke.
Okay.
So now we have an opportunity to see the original.
Because it was wax smoke.
Yes,
And so the wax coated it. Yes, I
Yes,
understand.
So they spent 3 days here, and they took what was valuable here. I mean, they took golden door from the church, the treasure which was given by King Tamara, and they also took the children who were hiding here as slaves from Vardzia. And after 3 days, they left the city.
Okay, that was the Persians.
Persians,
Yeah,
yes. But very soon, after 27 years, Vardzia was already occupied by the Ottomans, Turkish people. And during 300 years, this city was used as a stable for cows, for sheep, for shepherds.
Okay.
And mostly Turkish shepherds lived here during winter. And winter is quite cold here.
Yes.
So they used and they burned every wooden structure.
Wow.
By the way, this is the deepest part of Vardzia. And temperature is unchangeable here. 11 degrees all the time.
And this is the pool with the water.
Yes. The pool called King Tamara's tears and white tears. You see, the water is coming from the well drop by drop, like tears.
I see.
Yes. Exactly for this reason they called King Tamara's tears.
Oh, what are these pipes for?
We pumped out water every day.
I see.
Yes.
Otherwise, there would be too much.
Yes,
I see.
exactly. The interesting fact about this water is that nobody knows from where this water is coming.
And where is it dripping from?
From the small house and from the wall.
I see, right
yes,
there.
small house, you see? So, but we don't know the source of the water. So it is interesting that amount of the water is unchangeable. 50 liters in a day. Doesn't matter if it's very hot days during the whole week or it's rain. So, and what's about the Vardzia during Soviet time? Here was just the touristic center. Mostly the visitors from Soviet countries, from Russia, we are coming here to see this monastery. In 1938, the official museum was established here. But from 1989, after blessing of our Patriarch Elias II, monastic life rised again here. And now Vardzia is as museum as active monastery and 3 monks are living.
Oh, where do they live?
We will see the monks' accommodation later.
Okay. So that water was called Tamara's Tears. And now what we're doing is we backtracked and we're going through another passageway which leads behind. Unfortunately, I was not able to get into the Church of the Dormition or Tamara's room. I did have a chance to peek on the other side at some of the frescoes inside. This is where they found the amazing frescoes that have been covered in wax. But unfortunately, I wouldn't have been able to take photos in there anyway, even if I had gone. But we continued to go by this strange little chamber within the room here was actually a place where they put the bodies of dead monks back in the day. And I mean, I guess it used to be full, but the Persians came and took them all out. This room must have had quite an intense odor. It was at this point that Tico started to tell me that I was going to walk, see where that ladder is, they're kind of steps. I'm actually going to have to walk up there alone because of the coronavirus and go through the strangest cramped passageway I've ever been in. Yeah. So, what's about the tunnel? Unfortunately, because of the coronavirus, we have not tried to follow you in a tunnel. So I will wait for you at the end of the tunnel, okay? But the way it's easy. You need to follow the tunnel, but on the right side there is another tunnel connected with this system, but you don't need. You just go ahead, go straight,
And when you go up, Eba, you will see me.
Okay, so I go up
So
and
just follow the tunnel and go straight.
and if there's another tunnel, don't take it.
No, on the right side you don't need.
All right, so I'm going through this tunnel alone, and it's quite low for a person of my height. And the monks must have been hobbits then. That's the sound you hear is my backpack scraping the ceiling. Just so you know, I am bending over this whole time. Now there's evidently, okay, stairs. Nice. Oh, and they go up and up. Okay, don't take this because it goes somewhere I don't want to go. But it does look inviting. Maybe I'll come back. So I'm going to keep going straight. And this is the most bizarre tunnel I've ever been in. What an amazing feeling, though. Oh, the Georgians were slightly higher here. And we are ascending. Probably around 4,000 feet up or higher, because we were about 1,500 meters. Okay, that's where I came from. Okay. I'll keep going. Down. Those are long steps. Very short people with very long legs. Okay. Maybe I don't go this way. Tico, where are you? Okay. So there's only one way to go. This way. Oh, there she is. Tico's down there. So it's coming down like... steps are not exactly what you call friendly. I wouldn't suggest coming here if you have any problems with mobility. And so finally, after squeezing my bulk through this absolutely just tight, narrow, steep passageway, I came back out and there was Tico waiting for me. This is Tico, my guide, and I was very grateful for all of her service. And finally I said goodbye, farewell. Vardzia is a pretty fascinating place. Built to be a protection. Never quite became that. Instead, it became a monastery for quite a few monks. Then half of it fell off. And then monks kept coming back. But then both the Turks and the Persians came and just slaughtered people, burnt one man alive, and eventually just destroyed the place. Then there was a Greek monk who came here to live in the 19th century. And he, in a sense, started people coming here. But while he was here, he did a few repairs, very few. And then in the 1930s, the Soviets decided it was a place, but they didn't fix it up. Now it has guardrails everywhere. They didn't quite do that much to it. They let people just, in typical Russian fashion, just kind of roam around at will. I wonder if anyone died. And now it's a tourist attraction. Fascinating, honeycombed with, there's one place that's just a labyrinth of tunnels, and I'm evidently going out one before I leave. But it makes you think about the whole project of being human. That we would have to build something like this to protect ourselves. From whom? From ourselves. I hear someone talking above me. And yet, we can't protect ourselves. And yet, there's something of beauty in the effort, no matter how quixotic, no matter how much of a failure. It's an interesting place to think about life. What I really like are, there are about 3 or 4 monks who live here now, and you can tell where they're living, because they bring back the spark of life. What is the spark of life? They have green things growing in front of their caves. And I'm sure they have more inside that they've made at home here. I'm told you sleep on their rock places where you would sleep here. But of course, it's not just rock. You bring hay or fabric or materials or feathers or something to sleep on, and you make it a home. Nice, quiet place. And I am so fortunate to be here when there are no tourists. There may be 1 or 2 other people, but I haven't seen them yet. I saw someone look like they were walking up, but it could have just been a worker. I could be the only person here all day. Thanks to the virus. Okay. We're on our our way out. There is evidently a way. I just saw another visitor try to go down this way and then turn around, which I wonder why. I guess I'll find out. Might have gotten too dark, but there supposedly is lights, so we'll see. Another little cell. And down here. Well, this is a stairway. This is what she just hiked back up, but I don't care. I saw her, I think it was really dark, and that's why she turned around. But we will see. Pretty amazing, though. As I say farewell to Vardzia. At least from being on the side of the mountain, although I'm still on the side of the mountain now, but so let's see. Oh, there's the tunnel. What's down behind me here? More cells. Okay. Let's go down to the tunnel. I can see her up there looking at me, wondering if I will be turning around soon. I will not be, no matter how dark it gets, because this is interesting. Oh, there's lights. But I keep conjuring up these really short monks with really long legs because of the way these stairs are so long and irregular. Okay, now we're here. I'm going to stop for a minute. Take my breath. Oh, it's not that long a tunnel compared to the other one. Shaved my head there. Get a little grit out of it. Okay. My legs are getting exercise. Oh, there's more tunnel. Gotta watch my head because it's really low now. Oh, hit the head again. There's a gate down here. I thought for a second it was closed. I thought, like, that would be kind of a shame to get all the way back up. And I'm almost here. And that was the lowest part I've had to go. Crazy. Got more exercise bending my legs. And I'm out. And oh, my legs are so wobbly from doing that. I'm no longer 15 years old or 20. But it's good exercise, I'll tell you. And so finally after that, it was an agonizing walk down those stairs because each step They were irregular, for one thing. Some of them were as many as 2 steps worth each moment. And it was just quite an experience. I felt like I got enough exercise, like I'd been doing cramps with my legs for, hours. It was just incredible. But good exercise nonetheless. But here's my last view of Vardzia. I saw from Vardzia that there was a road that went directly across it on the opposite mountain. And I decided to drive up it a ways and look across. And so this is my last glimpse of Vardzia before I would say farewell to it, at least for this time. I plan on coming back. There were more things I didn't see within it. Like, what's that big tunnel? There were holes and tunnels, all sorts of places I didn't really get to. And it would be good to go back with a friend. I was going to take a friend on this trip, but he had to back out, unfortunately. So we're going to say adieu to the Maisuradzes and Tsunda and Vardzia. This was just a nice final moment of the way the sun and the breaking light through a pine tree here. And it's my last night. Actually, I went up on the hill and spent that last night with my host family, and glad I did. In the morning, I hopped in the car and drove back. For the most part, the drive, I kind of did a full circle. The drive going back the other way was not quite as interesting as the one coming out. Again, at about a certain point, I started hitting traffic. Lots of trucks, and the usual thing that goes with it. But there was this one moment where I saw this castle in the mist, and I thought I should just capture it for you. So there you have it, an exploration of Vardzia. I think you will agree with me that it was quite special. So come back, watch the second part on Georgian crossroads. This is Byrne saying Droebit, which means I'll see you soon. From Georgia, Nakwandis.